Right. Hello there. Welcome along. We're a couple of minutes away from getting started proper with the Hangout at the top of the hour. But yes, it would be great if you could share and let everyone know that we're going to be live with this week's episode of Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. I've completely forgotten to plug in my microphone, so bear with me. Let's have a look. One or two people, yeah. I asked if you wanted me to shave or not shave, and I have shaved. Although some people have gone, go shave, don't shave, go for the ruggedly manly look. That is one look I could never pull off, ever. That's just not going to happen. Okay. Right, so let's see who we've got kicking off today. We've got Sarita, who's joining us. We've got Andrew English. Hope to have my passport in 2 days. Then just hope I can get tickets for WonderCon. That shouldn't be a problem. It's something we're going to be talking about on the show today, about WonderCon and its perception, about a conversation that I had with several people online this week about the strength of the WonderCon brand and how it's growing. So we are going to get into that. We've got Into the Blue Mister. We've got Andrew Dickinson. I'm sat here trying to break in a pair of Doc Martens. I don't know how you do that with sitting still. You need to be walking for that, so hopefully you're out and about in the park or something, or out in the evening air, watching this on your phone and looking like a fool watching YouTube videos in the park. Okay, there you go. What else we got? Yes, hopefully we're going to be joined by Dan or Samantha, but that is entirely down to whether they can make themselves free and available. Because they're at Emerald City Comic Con. We have been posting up on the convention center a number of interviews. I can also give you a tease of some of the other ones that are on the way, because they've been very busy talking to some great creators. So we had ourselves Django Wexler, Michael Moresi, who's done a brilliant series on Wasted Space, if you've had the chance to read that. Tim Seeley as well, and also spoke to Vault Comics, Damien and Adrian Wessel. That's the interviews that are up at the moment. We've got interviews that will be going up shortly from Erica Henson and Carl Starks, Kerry Randolph, Simone Mills, and Vita Ilia. So fingers crossed I'll get those up hopefully this evening, but we'll see how we go. That is fingers crossed that we can get that up and running for tonight. That's Emerald City Comic Con, our coverage on the Convention Collective. But don't forget, if you do want to contribute to Sandbox, perhaps you want to get into comic reviewing, maybe you want to review a game or a TV show or something that you would like to get nerdy about and share your passion with the rest of the world, let us know. Head to admin at theconventioncollective.com and yes, drop us a line. Let us know what you want to write about, and we'll try and accommodate you and promote it as much as we can. We had a post go up recently, which was an interview which a good friend of mine put up, and we shared that. All he had to do was just drop me a line, and we'll accommodate all kinds of content if you want to share your love with the wider world of something. Perhaps you've reviewed or you've seen a new television show that you feel that more people need to talk about. Let us know, and we'll get that up on the website. So there's something that's slightly different with the Hangouts nowadays, which is slightly concerning, is that I can't actually see how many people are watching. There was a point where you could actually see down at the bottom, and it told you how many people were watching. It doesn't show it anymore, which is rather distressing. I would love to. Right. Okay, so it's the top of the hour. This is Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Leonard Sultana. Each and every week we talk con culture and all the bits and pieces and the pop culture that you can see at such events, the fandoms that gather and celebrate all their passions at conventions, not only in North America, but also here in the UK and worldwide. It's a packed week. It's a packed couple of weeks. You have to bear with me for being a little bit frazzled. I'm learning two things this week. Number one, it was Alyssa that was getting all the guests in because I'm getting cancellations left, right, and center. So unfortunately, we have had some more cancellations. This time, I think there was one that had a family issue. So I'd like to. I don't want to name names, but I do want to pass on my best and hope that everything is okay with her. And with the other person, that said, no, I just can't make it. Gave me no reason. It was very abrupt email, which was very strange. But hey, what the hell? At least I get the chance to speak to you guys. What I'm tempted to do, or was tempting to do, was actually post the link to the Hangout in the chat box, which means it's one of those risky moments where I could open it up to anybody. Anyone could join me on the Hangout if you felt that you wanted to, because I'd love to talk to you guys about what you've got planned for 2019, what shows you've got lined up, what you would like to see at such shows, because we can get into all sorts of bits and pieces, including things that have been announced this week. And it's just been a lot of fun. Let's see, Super Catchy. I don't think my last message went through. I'm joining everyone in a bar during our St. Paddy Day celebration. Good afternoon, everyone. That's how you should be doing it. I mean, if this was proper, then this would be vodka and, or I don't know, pint of Guinness. But it's not. It's water, unfortunately. So I'm hydrating. And I am needing to hydrate, quite frankly, because number two, I may be fraying a little bit at the edges this week, purely because it has been a very busy week. I host a couple of shows on a hospital radio station here in the UK, which is HWD Hospital Radio. It operates out of Dewsbury and District Hospital in West Yorkshire. And we broadcast not only to the patients of the hospital, but everyone in a wider world. So you can actually listen at hwdhospitalradio.com. This week has been our major fundraising effort, a big broadcast, 48 hours non-stop, usually throughout the night and throughout the day as well. We put it on an automatic system, and then our presenter shows take place in the evening. This weekend from 8 o'clock on Friday all the way through to 8 o'clock in the evening. Tonight, so it'll be coming into the final 2 hours now of the sponsored broadcast. There has been a warm body in the hot seat, in the presenter's seat at the studio. Now, because I work as a DJ, which means I am a night owl anyway, I usually volunteer for the 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Show on Friday night, Saturday morning, which means my body clock has been well and truly hit over the head with a hammer. And the neurons are popping slightly behind the eyes. I can actually feel it. But it has been a great weekend. I'd like to thank everyone who joined me live on the show. There's a chat box on the Listen Live player on hwdhospitalradio.com, and you can put a name in, put your message, and interact with the show. And that is also the main way for us to interact with our listeners. And I had a number of people joining me, and it was a pleasure to have you along. And those people who donated as well, thank you so much indeed for your support. If you want to join in and help me out with my shows, I do a show each and every Monday, which is 6 a.m. Pacific, same time. Well, yes, same time as now, on a Monday. And for 2 hours, I bring nerd news and also panel recordings as well. It's my little slice of nerd. If you want to join me on hwdhospitalradio.com. Right, so let's get into the chat room and let's see what's happening. Super Cat Chick is drinking Jameson. It's a good Catholic whiskey. Happy St. Patrick's Day for everybody with not just Irish in their bones, but Irish in their blood and Irish in their spirit. It's one of those strange ones. As somebody from the UK and someone who's English, St. George's Day is an odd one, because it has been co-opted by less savory political operatives, which means St. George's Day is something that we struggle to celebrate. But then you look at St. Patrick's Day, and you look at all the other saints of Ireland and Wales and everywhere else, and that is more a case of us looking at that culture and celebrating it. We're not in the position where people want to celebrate St. George's Day at the moment. It's a very odd one, but hopefully in time future, we'll actually see that change, and we can start feeling a little bit more proud about being British again. Let's have a look at this. Into the Blue Mister, being Welsh, I'm still hungover from yesterday's rugby. Caroline was watching at her place of work and struggling to get any work done because, yes, she was watching the game and then watched the England game and couldn't stop laughing as, she couldn't stop laughing throughout the course of that game. So there we go. Andrew English is a very, very busy boy indeed. He's heading to WonderCon, London MCM, Supernova Sydney, wow, Supernova Perth, London, San Diego Comic Con, London Film and Comic Con, TF Con, London MCM, and Birmingham MCM. I have yet to hear word from MCM whether I'm going to be panel hosting again this year. By all accounts, I am, but I've heard no official word as yet. I am going to be attending Birmingham Comic Con next weekend. So, Andrew, I will see you there, sir. It's not going to be as an official capacity, but I am going to be making my way to that particular show, wandering around, taking a bunch of video and doing a live report at the end of the day as well. And I'll hopefully get some kind of confirmation about the rest of the year. Really want to do, I'd love to do Scotland again. Really enjoyed Glasgow last year. And also would love to do the MCM London shows, of course. So fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. There's also been the very slim possibility that I may be doing London Film and Comic Con. Because I'm not doing San Diego this year, yes, that's still looking like that's going to is the case. Usually I'm not able to do London Film and Comic Con because it means leaving San Diego directly after the convention shuts, flying to the UK, and it usually takes place the weekend after. Because I'm not able to attend San Diego this year, it means that I may be able to attend London Film and Comic Con. And I spoke to the organizer of the Comics Village area, and he kind of teased whether I'd be up for doing panel hosting for that. So looking at the talent so far that he's got landed for London Film Comic Con, it's looking very tasty indeed. So I'm very much up for that. Let's have a look at this. Andrew English, reeling off that list, last year of international cons, may do international European next year as well as London and Birmingham. I think something that I'm going to look into is more the European shows. I really wouldn't mind going to Anglais. I really want to check that show out because that sounds like a very pure comics-led show. I'd also like to look at some more of the European shows that MCM put on. I'd like to just get out and check a little bit further afield and get a little bit more air miles under my belt. And get some invites to international events. ICE went last week went very well. I think the 2000 AD panel, once I've got that edited, I think people will like that one. That's a good panel, and hopefully I'll get that up next week. Let's have a look at this. Michael P. Hi, everyone. Daylight savings threw me off. You are telling me. I am very quickly, unless you guys want to let me know. I'm not entirely sure when clocks go forward here in the UK, or the clocks change. I believe it's the end of the month. In other words, we've got another 2 weeks of this. So we got this week and next week, where it's going to be 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. And then on the 31st, our clocks change and we bring it a little bit back into some kind of normality. So yes, I appreciate the slight shift, and I apologize for that. People are rattling off their cons. This is great. Please do let us know where you're heading. It's sounding like everyone's doing their best to cram as much as they possibly can. Sarita P is going to Greater Philly, also going to San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con. So looking forward to those. WonderCon, that weekend is going to be a very busy weekend. WonderCon's on. You've got Planet Comic Con as well. I think is Sarita going to that one as well? Someone said they were going to that, and I'd love to get them on. Andrew Dickinson is heading to WonderCon, San Diego Comic Con, and Gen Con. We are hopefully going to be getting a live report from WonderCon from Aaron Nabus, who's going to be joining us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's been a while since we've had Aaron on the show, so it's going to be great to have him joining us. Aaron and I, this is something I wanted to get into. I want to talk about this week. You may have spotted on my social media a video that I shared, which was taken by Dan Berry at the San Diego Comic Fest. This was a panel that was being hosted by someone who proclaims himself to be a comics historian. He's an artist of note, but he's not so much known for his comics art. It is more for his appreciation of comics as a professional fan. He's very bombastic. He's very, I'm not going to say pompous, because it is backed up by some knowledge. He knows what he's talking about. He can be a little bit abrasive for those people who don't agree with him. He does have a couple of Facebook groups where people have altercations purely because they've felt that Stan Lee was just as equally as talented as Jack Kirby. At which point he launches into them. No, Jack Kirby was the king. Yada yada yada. He's one of those. He's very much an opinionated guy. He hosted his 5th panel at San Diego Comic Fest last week, and at the very end of it, it went horribly wrong. It was a panel or a lecture which he had not prepared before. This was the debut of it, and it was a panel on Neil Adams and his time on Batman. It was an entertaining panel. This is what was really frustrating. It really kind of got into some of the nuts and bolts of what Neil was doing with his stories. At which point a teen volunteer, came in to let him know that unfortunately his time was running out and that he had to finish within 7 minutes. The panel host turned around and said that, no, I want to keep going. I want to put this show on. We're wasting time talking about this. And he just launched into this volunteer. The volunteer went out to talk to his manager or whatever to explain that their panel host is giving abuse to him. At which point, I believe it was another volunteer who happened to be the young lad's father, walked in with a piece of paper saying that the panel was now having to come to a close. At which point this panel host launched into him with abuse and swearing, and very much came off as a pompous and abrasive and arrogant gentleman. He was absolutely believing that the audience were behind him, that he was in the right, the venue, the organizers, the volunteers were in the wrong. Everyone was in the wrong but him. And that seems to be a common thread, speaking about this particular gentleman, which was a shame. The reason why I wanted to bring it up is because Aaron is somebody who has hosted interviews with the gentleman. He has been ghosted by him now. They've been unfriended on Facebook, purely for the sheer gall of asking this panel host to just apologize. And that was all that they asked. And Aaron has been ghosted by this gentleman. There are people that are jumping in, and I know that people can look at the footage and they can take what they want from it. They can feel that perhaps that the volunteer was being disrespectful to a special guest. They can feel that the special guest was just generally throwing his weight around. I personally am erring towards the second one, and I very much in the same lines as Paul Levitz. Paul Levitz was the former publisher for DC Comics. He's an editor. He is one of the instrumental people behind the British invasion, sending people over to interview and speak to talent to bring them to the UK. He is a personal hero. He was the person who got, I think he is nominated for the Eisner Award Hall of Fame this year, which I personally think how he's not been inducted into that already is just beyond me. So that's Paul Levitz. He has always turned around and said, it doesn't matter if you're having technical issues, if your guest doesn't show up or something, you abide by the schedule, you abide by the times. Because if you don't, you are not only just being disrespectful to the audience, you're being disrespectful to the people following next to you, following onto their panel. You obey by the schedule, because without it, it all goes horribly wrong. And you also just end up looking like an idiot. And this particular person was very much on the case. Omar Hassa, I mean, things aren't going your way, but don't yell at the staff. You're absolutely right. Andrew Dixon, there's a lot going around. Don't be a dick. It is a golden rule. Mr. Wheaton is absolutely right in that regard. Let's have a look at this. Right, okay. So there we go. So I wanted to get into that. I was hoping that we were going to be joined by Dan or Samantha at this point, but it looks like that may not be happening. Super Cat Chick, Team Aaron, absolutely. He is he's somebody who I am honored and proud to call a friend. If you get the chance to check out Hall H podcast, do it, because he really is somebody who supports independent talent, supports growing talent. He's just a top bloke. He's just one of those people you just go, nope, he's a top bloke. So there we go. Right, what else we got? Andy Bayback is here. Hello, Andy. How are you, sir? Welcome along. Love to know if you are available, if you'd like to come on very quickly to talk about DC Universe and how you feel those shows are going on. If you are watching this in the US, I believe it's happening for this week. You can actually sign up for DC Universe and you can actually do it for free. I believe the way it works is that it's a free app, but you have to pay for the subscription to see certainly the programs that they got lined up and got programmed, including Doom Patrol and Titans. Doom Patrol is very good. Titans is good. Doom Patrol is very good. It's available, and I believe it's available for free this week. It's a promotional week, and it's either this week or next week. I'm sure that Andy would have a better sense on that. But I'd like to know what his thoughts on those shows are, whether they are too dark. The one thing, let's dive into this. If you're watching this, if you are somebody who's been watching Titans, and if you've been watching Doom Patrol, I'd like to know who you think they're pitched to. Who is the target audience? And indeed, how does that feed into who the target audience for DC Universe is? And even more so, who the target audience for DC is at this point. Because it's something that came up as the panel for 2000 AD. As 2000 AD, when it first started back in 1972, it was punk. And it was punk for the kids. It was the comic that the kids bought, and it was their young ones. It was the one that they watched. It was one they read, kind of like snuck behind teachers' backs, and it was very much a rebellion. It was an act of rebellion to read 2000 AD. But then I talked about who the audience of 2000 AD is in 2019. Is it the same audience that have basically grown up to my age, and therefore the audience now is an older readership? What are the kids reading? Well, that's a whole other question. That's the question I'm thinking about comics and also DC. At the end of the day, who is Titans and Doom Patrol aimed for? Especially Titans, because Titans is violent, it's dark, it's brooding, it's got the swears, quite aggressive swears, actually. You can't watch that with a kid. So who's it for? It's a very, very strange. Michael P, I remember the original Doom Patrol comics. It's one set of comics that I've never read. I've never got into Doom Patrol, and I'm struggling to get into any of the recent DC Vertigo Doom Patrol stuff as well. It's just, I think it's possibly because there are so many comics out there at the moment. It's struggling to read them all, but there we are. Do excuse me while I try to. Andy Bayback, do you want to know my thoughts? Of course I do. Andy, of course I do. Doom Patrol is lit. Michael P, I like Titans better than Doom Patrol. Okay. Explain why, please do. Is it purely because you are familiar with the Doom Patrol comics and there's that nostalgia thing? Who knows? Well, tell you what, 1 second. I am going to message Andy Bayback, and I'm going to get him the link. And you never know. Let's see if we can get him on very quickly to talk. I think someone's trying to get on in terms of Sam, but Here we go. There we go. You know, we like to have discourses. It's all about you. It's your show, after all. And I'd like to hear what Andy has to say about these shows. So I'll just message you on that there Twitter. And I'm also trying to find out what Sam's up to, because I think Sam's trying to get on. But Sam's very busy at the moment because she's got all sorts of interviews that she's doing at the moment. Right. Try that again. And you never know. Let's see. I mean, like I say, we'll try and get some bodies on. Right. The other thing that I wanted to dive into was another bunch of news that got announced this week regarding Mr. James Gunn. This is something which came out of the blue, and I turned around and said on social media, I did not believe that this was ever going to happen. To be fair, from what we've heard in the interim, there's stuff that's been kind of swept under the carpet, and I don't know how Disney's going to get out of this. Oh, hello, Andy. How are you doing, sir?
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Oh, what are you doing with your mic?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I can change my mic actually. Hold on.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let me quickly just get into this topic, and then we'll talk to you for a second. So yeah, James Gunn, at the end of the day, it was revealed this week that James was never fired, which meant that the company removed him from operation of Guardians of the Galaxy and then swept him under a carpet and hoped that nobody noticed. That's disingenuous of them. And I can't see how Disney are going to get out of this, purely because at the end of the day, they make themselves out to be the wholesome family brand. Open and accepting. And yes, they deal like any other major corporation and major company with some very strange dealings. If you actually look into some of the ways that they operate with tax and how they operate with other businesses in the Anaheim area, then they're a standard big corporation. They are big business, and that's just the way that Disney is. But at the end of the day, Disney do put the public face on that they are the family brand. To say then that they have dismissed an employee because of things that that person has said, and then in actual fact just hidden them under a rug somewhere, to then just come out and say, we haven't actually looked for anybody else for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Here's Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm trying to work out if it's several things that we can talk about. Number one, the Fox deal. At the end of the day, this kind of instability is something that could put a lot of pressure on that deal. And it's something that it was very controversial. It was noise that I'm certain Fox executives, Disney executives did not want clouding that deal. Now the deal is done, and indeed the deadline, wasn't it yesterday? I believe the deadline was yesterday for that. In other words, the timing is staggeringly coincidental. So that's number one. Number two, the success of Captain Marvel. You've got yourself a film which celebrates diversity, which celebrates empowerment, which celebrates the beating of the alt-right, the ones that have issues with your diversity, which at the end of the day, there was always the us versus them when it came to James Gunn. You've got the number one film 2 weeks on the trot. You now have a little bit of muscle to turn around and say, tell you what, we're going to have James Gunn back. And you people that have been skewing our Rotten Tomato numbers, and you people who have been spouting things on social media, we're not going to pay attention to you anymore because we won. I think there's timing about this particular announcement. The only thing I'm afraid of is that we're going to talk about this right up to and beyond the release of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, instead of just talking about the film. I'm just afraid that the noise of James Gunn is going to be louder than the film itself, if that makes sense. Okay, we can get into that. Right then, sir, how are you doing, Andy? Long time no speak, man.
It's been a very long time. I'm doing well. I've actually been I've started packing for WonderCon because I'm leaving like Saturday. So I'm like I had to look for all my equipment that's been scattered all around my room. Yes, I'm not good at cleaning my room. I'm not a tidy person. So yeah, there you go. That's what they did about me. But otherwise, I'm doing well, and yeah, I've been enjoying the show. Yeah, so I was when I surprised because I was while I was going around cleaning. So I'm like, wait, did he just ask me to come on? And I'm like, okay.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's anybody that's going to have a perception about DC and Marvel and all the other the superhero television shows, it's going to be you. So we might as well talk to you about it. So might as well talk about. Well, let's talk about WonderCon first as well. In terms of the things that we can expect to see. I mean, I know that we're going to be seeing a presentation of Cloak and Dagger. And it's exciting to see that we're going to see a presentation on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is exciting. What are you looking forward to at WonderCon? Have you had a look through the schedule yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've started planning up, picking up my panels and so on. It's a very quiet WonderCon, which I mean it's fine because this is very much of a vacation for me. But Marvel Television is coming with both Shield and Cloak and Dagger and Legion, which is gonna have its final hurrah at a convention, I guess.
Do we have a date for Legion yet?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens around the fall or summer. So I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they will come to San Diego Comic Con. But
I believe it was February last year.
yeah,
It
so
was
it's
very early on in the year.
yeah. I think they're gonna announce the Legion premiere date probably close to WonderCon or maybe right at WonderCon, saying hey, everyone who's here, you will get to get a sneak peek on Sunday something something. You can catch it on FX at 8 p.m. or something. So um but I will have to check on that. But I'm excited for Marvel Television because it's one of my favorite brands. And I mean, one of the things I'm a little bit sad about is that there's no DC TV presence at all this year, which is the first time since I don't know, maybe since 2011 that we haven't had it. Because every year they've had something DC TV related, whether it be Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl Tomorrow, or Black Lightning. And this year, I mean, they're gonna have a DC Universe panel, which will include Doom Patrol and Young Justice and so on. Maybe we'll get some updates on the other shows that are coming. I would love to get maybe a costume review for Stargirl and maybe a trailer for Swamp Thing, which I think it's getting closer to wrapping production. But yeah, I mean it's a more quiet WonderCon if you're looking at the Marvel TV and DC TV side of things. But I know a lot of the writers from some of these Marvel DC TV shows will be there doing panels. Like they will do like writers panels. So I think that's something people should go and check out if they want to see some of their favorite, show writers and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into that because I was going to do my own little diatribe about it, but I'll include you in the conversation and see what your thoughts about this is, because I got into a bit of a conversation with the unofficial blog and one or two other people as well about where WonderCon is as a convention, because we were talking about whether it's how it's selling out and whether we'll ever get to the point where it'll get to those San Diego Comic Con levels, that an amount of frenzied attention on that con. And I turned around and said, will it ever happen? Will we ever get to that point for WonderCon? Because every single year it gets bigger and stronger. The lineup gets better and better. The attention that the studios put on the convention gets bigger. Do you think we'll ever get that with WonderCon, or will it always be the baby brother to the convention in the convention calendar?
With all due respect, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be the baby brother to San Diego Comic Con because, from a television and movie standpoint, at least for television, it's
I don't know about San Diego Comic Con because that's a whole a whole other stratosphere.
Yeah.
But say like New York or Emerald City, because when we talk about those conventions, they are major events in the convention calendar.
Oh yeah.
But it always seems that WonderCon is kind of like not on a highest priority. This year, it seems to be getting close.
Yeah, it depends on if it comes to TV, it depends on what shows are filming and what shows are not filming. Like for example, the CW shows, they're like around this time, they're getting closer now filming their final episode of the season, which probably doesn't allow them to leave Canada or wherever they're filming to go to WonderCon. And then with movies, I mean, I think it's interesting for the first time in ever, like because not a lot of movies go to WonderCon, but this year Dark Phoenix is coming, which although they kind of need the marketing, they need
They
the
need
promotion.
something to do with that film. I don't know what it is about that film. I forget it. It's even worse than New Mutants. I forget about that film's existence once the final frame of the trailer's gone. It's just not exciting me in any way, shape, or form. And I've no idea why, because it's in my wheelhouse. It's X-Men. It's a superhero movie. I don't know if it's because we've been spoiled and there are too many superhero movies and you can pick and choose now. But it's a film that I just can't, even down to the actual title card of it, which looks like it's been put together in 5 minutes. Just, oh, let's bring up Times New Roman Dark Phoenix and just put it up on the screen. It just looks so weak and
Might it
it
be
needs
because
something.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Could it be because, and I was talking to someone that, a few weeks ago, is that a lot of these new X-Men movies, whether, some of them have been really good, some of them have not been as good, but it's because they all feel the same. Like, it's very much the same tone all the time, like, because it's very dark, it's very hitting hard on, mutants are discriminating and discriminated, and, there's Magneto and Professor Xavier having these different sides and whatnot. We've dealt with those aspects so many times that I think that could, because I will say that I'm super excited for New Mutants, and but with Dark Phoenix, it's like I could not care less.
Yeah.
Even
Well, for me, it's the other way around. Because New Mutants, I think I'll only ever believe that film actually exists when I'm sat in the cinema and it's out on screen. I don't think I'll even believe it exists while the trailers are running. It's taken so long to get here. It's just felt like it's the bastard child of the Marvel setup. It's like they don't even want it to exist. It's such a shame. It's especially with the people that's involved and how it could be.
No, I agree. No, but I get it's X-Men is in a weird position right now because because of the Fox Marvel Disney thing. I can only imagine that Fox must be pissed that they're basically looking like they look bad, because like, okay, these movies won't really have an impact beyond just having a few months of run in the theaters. We might make some money off of it, and then what they do, we're done. There's not going to be any continuation of this continuity of films, and then it's all about the MCU doing the X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can imagine that they've been looking at the press of certainly the deal that's been done and just going, great. Everyone just thinks that Marvel will do it better than we will. I mean, it's like it makes you wonder about Sony because that was supposedly a collaborative thing, which is great.
Yeah.
But the general perception is Marvel got that hands on the toy box and did it better. So Sony must feel like, what, are we just chopped liver here? And I'm feeling that Fox is very similar in a similar position.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's an awkward position, and we just have to get through these next few months. But I think once we start hearing news about what they're going to do with the X-Men in the MCU, I think we're all just going to forget. Hey, remember there was a time when X-Men was really awkward in movies?
It's possible. You never know. So we're hoping that that's going to be coming to WonderCon. It's definitely going to be well, okay then. So let's ask the question about San Diego Comic-Con. Who do you think is going to have the final panel in Hall H? Is it going to be a Fox panel? Is it going to be a Marvel panel?
I don't think Fox has anything to show. I don't think they're going to bother bringing New Mutants, to be honest.
Could it be a Fox and Marvel panel?
Ooh.
At which point I'm really gonna, if that happens, I'm really gonna be pissed off that I'm missing this, because yeah, that would just really gut me. that would hurt.
I mean, that would. I mean, first of all, I still cannot believe that I'm gonna go to San Diego Comic-Con without you this year. I mean, I'm still hoping there's gonna be a miracle in the next few months and whatnot. So because Comic-Con will not be the same without you and Caroline. So, but no, a Fox and Marvel panel that would be. I think that would be
the noise in that hall would be insane.
The line is See, this is why I'm glad I'm not doing All Age anymore, because it's just too exhausting.
Hang on a second, I'm way older than you, and I've got the energy for it. Kids today, you You need to work the stamina.
Well, see, the Saturdays are like the most packed ones for me because I have to run around all day doing pressures for all the DC shows because that for some reason they put every single DC show and their mother on that day.
Yeah.
So I had to like last year I had to run up and down between floors because they were all scattered around and it was, so I had to like what I mean, I was lucky to see the Aquaman and Shazam trailers when they came out because I was sitting waiting for the next room, and I'm like, it would have been great to see it on a big screen with everyone else, but I just don't have time for it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's actually talk about what we kind of were talking about to get you on. Have you been following DC Universe? Have you been following Titans? Have you been following Doom Patrol?
Well, because I do a podcast for both Doom Patrol and Titans, I should be caught up. No, but I've been in love with those shows since the get go for both of them. Titans, I think up to the finale, it had a really solid path and a really good run. I think the finale, because of the whole controversy about the fact that they were supposed to have 12 episodes, and then they cut that final episode and said, let's save it for the season premiere instead. So the finale is really awkward and it's frustrating, but I think what Titus and Doom Patrol, what they're doing is they're taking DC TV to the next level along with Black Lightning and Krypton of kind of stepping up with their deeper storytelling and deeper characters that and that's not to slam the CW shows. They've done amazing work for the past 6, 7 years, almost 8 years now, starting with Smallville and Arrow, but with the DC Universe shows, it's definitely they're definitely expanding upon what they can do as a brand, and I think that's what's been really exciting.
But who's it aimed at then? Because I mean, if you look at the CW stuff, and if you look at some of the earlier, well, all of the basically everything other than Titans and Doom Patrol, you can show that to any age. Gotham in places, yes, that is more the mature readers or the mature viewers. Titans and Doom Patrol, certainly Titans, you can't show that to a under 18 audience because of its content, because of its violent content, because of its language, and because of the way that it puts
sex scenes.
It's sex scenes as well. So is it really geared towards the people with the credit cards who can sign up for a DC Universe account?
I honestly think that is the case because I mean, I'm sure 15-year-olds can watch this, but I can't picture anyone under that age watching these shows. So I think it's definitely for the mature audience. I think it's more aimed towards people who want to see the weirder side of the DC universe. They want to see the more brutal side of the DC universe, but also see, because Titans is such an interesting conundrum because Titans has been portrayed in such. There's definitely a Teen Titans for every age. There's the Teen Titans Go for the kids. There's the original Teen Titans show for any age. We have Young Justice that is kind of for the younger, the more elderly teenagers.
The teenagers, yeah.
Yeah, and now we have Titans that is more for straight up adults because I don't I don't know what a 7-year-old would react to seeing Robin kicking the hell out of a bunch of guys and just saying F Batman.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think even that was one of the mildest scenes I've watched.
Compared to what came after.
Some other stuff. I mean, the stuff when Tim Drake showed up.
Oh, you mean Jason Todd?
Jason Todd, sorry. And you just whoa. I mean, that's a bit. It was on the knuckle. It was really hardcore, and you just go, "Who is this for?" And that's just. I mean, I think Doom Patrol is very much towards the Vertigo audience, as in that kind of very literary, very aware, slightly sardonic. Someone who read Sandman, someone who read Watchmen, someone who got the sense of humor of V for Vendetta or whatever. I think that's where Doom Patrol is aimed for, but Titans is straight up grown up.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I do think the second season is they're gonna dial it back a little bit because I think that they've kind of seen the response now out. I mean, I don't want them to change the show too much because I like what Titans
is. Do you think? Because I think Jeff Johns likes dealing in that wheelhouse. This was Jeff Johns' show at the end of the day, and I think that's where he likes to sit. He likes to play to the older audience. He likes to play to people of his own age range. The criticism which I was talking about, how the comic book audience has now grown up to the point where you could argue that most people reading comics are of our age, not so much kids. He likes that. It's not something he tilts away from. He leans into that big style, and he has done with Titans the show.
No, I agree. I mean, and I think, to be honest, all the power to him, because I think that Netflix had the Defender shows that could kind of do that, but we never had it with these TV. So I think it's, we have, like I said, we have a good variety of content. We had the CW shows that are a little more kind of to any age. Black Lightning, I would probably say it's definitely a little bit for more mature audience because of this issues that it deals with. Although I've seen families that are actually watching the show together with their kids to kind of learn more about Black issues and Black society and whatnot, which I think is great. And then we have the shows on DC that is straight up for adults, which I think is perfectly fine. And I know there's always going to be the joke about, oh, well, DC's just doing dark stuff all the time. You know what? It's fine. I don't mind it because it's a good contrast to what Marvel is doing.
Well, I think every brand should have their own kind of shades. And I think that, I'm actually agreeing with one or two people online, which I read today. I actually agree that I think Grant Morrison is a bad idea for Flash. It's great that he's writing a film. It's great that he's teaming up with Ezra Miller to write The Flash. I think it's a bad idea. I think The Flash should be DC's Ant-Man. I think it should be fun. It should be bright. It should be... I mean, what I've seen of Shazam, that's what Shazam should be. But I think Shazam, I've seen a lot of kind of like shots at night and lots of sort of like lightning in dark, moody kind of lighting. I like it to be a little bit fresher and brasher and bolder, and shot, action scenes to take place in daytime and bright light and all of that. Who knows? I just think Grant Morrison is too bloody weird for a mainstream audience.
See, I'm still trying to I'm still taking the news in, because I'm like, I was taking a nap and I woke up like, they're doing, who's gonna write the Flash movie now? I'm like, okay, interesting. I mean, I know one. I mean, I can't go too much into detail. I mean, I can tell you off air, but I know one idea they've been tackling with the Flash movie for a while now, which I think could actually work really well if they did it right. And having someone like Grant Morrison, who is from the comic side of thing, I just don't know what Ezra Miller's writing abilities are, because I mean, I think Ezra Miller is great, but he is also weird a little bit.
Has he got any pedigree in writing? I don't think he does.
Dude, I still know so little about Ezra Miller. All I know is that he really loves Harry Potter, because I've seen him in interviews where he's like just gushes about Harry Potter. He's
a nerd. He gushes about everything nerdy. He's one of us.
That is, he should be on the show.
I'd have no problem with that.
Yeah, no, but I don't know what his writing abilities are, so that's why I'm a little bit nervous about this whole idea. And now there's the news about him. I mean, his contract expiring in a couple of months and so on. And if Warner Bros. Doesn't like this idea, they could go for the recasting idea, which I think would be. I'm a little bit mixed with it, because I love Ezra Miller, but at the same time, because of what the Flash TV show is doing right now, which still has a very young Barry Allen. I wonder what would happen if they age Barry up a little bit in the movies going forward, if Ezra wasn't to return. But I don't know how to feel about it yet. I need to see what comes of it, and how, because I like some of Grant Morrison's stuff. I mean, I hated his Wonder Woman Earth 1 book. That's the only thing I don't like with his content. But other than that, I mean, I think he's a solid writer, and it would be interesting to see what he could do. But again, it's always interesting to see, because Jeff Johns, he built his time up writing TV and movies and so on. But it feels like Grant is just like he's just being thrown in the right away. Like, let's start with with a big blockbuster movie for Warner Brothers and go from there, and not have any usually you pair up a comic book writer with a screenwriter, for example.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, we've got a couple of people that are jumping in on the chat. And it's great for everyone to say hi. We've got Michael P. Flash should be fun and a lighter character. Yeah, that's where I agree. I mean, that's what we saw with Justice League. He was the one with the lines and he was the one cracking the jokes. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
admittedly, he wasn't cracking them very well, but he tried. Dos Vidania. What the hell? No. Slap. Killer. We got saying Sarita P. I'm more of a young Justice girl. And Super Cat Chick is saying no. Teen Titans Go is my show. And yeah, to be fair, Teen Titans Go was the best animated film that DC have done in a long time. I loved that film a lot, and I think if it was, I mean, it was marketed really well, and it did do some great guns, and it was what I think Spider-Verse was aiming for. Except Spider-Verse then came out, and everyone realized that it's a whole other bloody level, and it's something else entirely. But I think it was aiming. I think when they were making Spider-Verse, they were going, let's just hope that we can do Teen Titans Go numbers. That's where we want to aim. That's the kind of tone that we want to go for. And obviously, they just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, I mean, it got a freaking Oscar, like for best. I mean, it got best picture in animation. So yeah, I mean, no big deal.
Yeah, it's
good money. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What else we got here? We do have a couple of. I'll tell you what. We'll do this and then we'll wrap things up with yourself and say thank you for coming. But Andrew Dickinson is making a comment, and I think actually, Andrew, this has been unconfirmed. This has actually come from a couple of sites which are very much skewed against Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's second weekend's been talked about with a 55% drop in sitting. So it's currently aiming for a 760 million worldwide. So if it hits 1 billion, do we count that as a win against the Man Babies? Right. Okay, let's dive into this one then. As far as I'm aware, those numbers only count up to Thursday, and they haven't counted the weekend numbers. As far as I'm aware, it's going to be aiming more like a 70 to 75% drop. And to be fair, I think it doesn't deserve that. It deserves more of a longevity because if you've seen it, you know that Captain Marvel is a bloody good film. But I think now everyone's waiting for Shazam just to kind of compare and contrast and balance between the two. Have you seen Captain Marvel? What's been your thoughts on it, Andy?
I've seen it, and I had some issues with it, but I think it's a very strong Marvel movie. I'm excited we have that. People are gonna hate me so much. I'm glad we have someone other than Black Widow to call a badass superhero. Because I'm gonna be honest, and people are gonna hate me. I don't like Black Widow. I don't care for Scarlett Johansson's portrayal, and I could care less about her movie. I am for Captain Marvel and other female superheroes, but not Black Widow. So I thought the movie was really well done. I think Brie Larson was phenomenal in the role, and to every crying, whining, pathetic man child out there who seems to have a problem with that, I mean, go out of your basement. Look at the world right around you. It ain't 1925 anymore or whatnot. So yeah, embrace what's out there, or just don't go on the internet. Go live your life offline instead.
Fair enough. In terms of if it hits 1 billion, do we count that as a win against the Man Babies? Yeah, I think we do. I think we count the fact that it's the #1 film worldwide as the win. I think the fact that no one's jumping on the film and giving it an absolute kicking. I think the worst reviews I've read so far is that the script is a bit weak, but that's purely because the people that have made the film and have written the film have come from indie, and they don't have a necessity, an available access to the language of superhero movies in terms of doing the action scenes. The action scenes seemed a bit two-dimensional and stilted. Certainly the fight scenes, it all just seemed very kind of, the camera was on a literal level. There was no action to the camera, but that's just down to language. That's down to experience. I think they were brought on because of character. It was the character that drove the Life of Captain Marvel comic. It was the character that drove the Captain Marvel comics, which were done 2 years ago. But not necessarily the action scenes. It was all about the dynamic and the character itself. And I think that's what comes forward in Captain Marvel as a film. I think it's like I said in my mini review last week. I think it sits nicely in the same wheelhouse as First Avenger, as Doctor Strange, and as Guardians of the Galaxy 1, as a great origin story.
Oh yeah.
Captain Marvel 2 is the one which is going to blow everyone away.
I mean, especially if they, I mean, because I'm assuming it's going to be set in the present. If they introduce Kamala Khan as well, I mean, it's gonna be a new age for superhero movies, because we will have. I mean, you talk about really going into the diversity part, because a Muslim superhero on the big screen, a teenage girl. I think that would be amazing. So yeah, like for me, I was just on a show last night talking about it, and I said that I think what Captain Marvel does is that it shows you a lot of the potential it has as a franchise moving forward. It's not, I would say this, it's not Wonder Woman amazing. I mean, I would say that I think, and I don't want to make those compare. I love Captain Marvel, but I also love Wonder Woman a little bit more. But I think that moving forward, I think it has so much potential, and I think that's what's important.
Sure. We got Into the Blue, Mr. Love Captain Marvel, left with a big smile on my face. I go to see a film to be entertained, and I was entertained. Yeah, I'll go along with that. s06e22, I agree with you. I was entertained with Man of Steel and Justice League. Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people forget that it's only been 10, 12 years where we didn't have a superhero movie every 2 months. It was more like every year. And considering that Blade was kind of like the only, Blade and Hellboy and Spawn. Those were our superhero movies. That is hard work to deal with. Andrew English, as Clark Gregg said, it must be sad to be that dinosaur walking towards the tar pit. Yes, that's true. There you go. I think that's the one to wrap up on. And you're absolutely right. It is. Be grateful that we're all enlightened, and that we can take these films and we can enjoy them, and we can embrace the characters that are involved. I said in my review last week, I think everyone can go and see this film and be entertained, but if you are a 14-year-old girl, you are going to come out of that film punching the air so goddamn hard. It is absolutely empowerment personified. I think it's just an amazing film for that. Further. So there we go. Thank you very much indeed, Andy. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about it. Where can people find you online, and where can people find you at cons? You say you're going to be at WonderCon. What are the cons you're going to?
The next con will be San Diego Comic Con, to be honest, because I just can't afford going to many cons. But people can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @AndrewBite. I do, like I said, the Flash podcast, Titans podcast, the Sabrina podcast, and I run the mall report, and also I write for Fans and that hashtag show. So I'm everywhere. I'm annoying. I'm on everyone's throat all the time.
Listen, that I'm not gonna say that, but you are certainly a prolific. And that is great to have you on my timeline. So thank you very much indeed for coming on.
It was so much fun. Thank you for having me on, Leonard.
No worries. Take care, man. Look after yourself.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. So there we go. Betsy Woodin. I enjoyed Captain Marvel and plan to see it again for things I may have missed the first time, and will purchase it later. I'm up for seeing it a third time. I mean, it says a lot that I'm up for seeing it again. There's not many films recently that I have gone back on a regular basis. I mean, I saw Civil War a fair few times. I saw I saw Spider-Verse 4 times. I fell hard for that film, and that is still possibly my favorite superhero film, period. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but I just love that film so much. But anyway, right, Andrew Dickinson, let's dive into this. It's the last one. Endgame trailer. I thought it was great. I think when I was watching it, I was actually hoping that the trailer was going to be all the way through what we actually got, which was black and white sequences from the previous films, a single shot of the new film, which we'd kind of seen already in previous trailers. I want to go into this film utterly cold, to the extent where the shot of them walking through the Avengers hangar in their new super white duds, which I am absolutely convinced they are going into the quantum realm with those suits. Just saying. The shot that's in there, and I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen the trailers and who are wanting to avoid everything. There's a shot in there where you can see characters alongside other characters, which up to now we were assumed that they were separated by time and space. That spoils it for me. But I wanted to see how that got there without actually seeing that they've got there. Now we know it happens. I wanted to see how it. I wanted to take that out of it. I mean, I was more than happy with seeing the final shot with Thor and Captain Marvel, but everything else, I just wanted to stay cold. I wanted to stay. I was at, I actually said 12 hours before the trailer dropped that I wanted Kevin Feige and the rest of the Marvel team. I wanted Victoria Alfonso. I wanted all the producers to just, and the Russo brothers to just step back and let it be and not have any more trailers come at all and basically coast it. Like, we don't need to do anything. At this point, anticipation is so high. It's just, I don't know. Andrew Dickinson think it might be a bit of a false lead. Who knows? So let's have a look at this. Do you think Gunn being back means Batista will come back? He's back. That's a given. I think all of the Guardians will be returning. I think this is something that is also being part of the negotiation, because that letter, the open letter that the cast put forward, basically said that we're not going to do this unless James isn't doing it. Or if we are going to do it, we're not going to be happy. Dave Bautista has been saying for months that he's wouldn't be happy if James wasn't involved. This is not the company that I signed up for. So yeah, he's back. That's a given. But thank you very much indeed for your question, Omahasa. Let's have a look. Supercat Chick, I think she's disappeared already, but she said, everyone have a great week and a happy and safe St. Paddy's Day. Indeed, if you are celebrating that wherever you are, hope you are having a great St. Paddy's Day. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, and I think it's going to lead into a lot of what we're going to see at Comic-Cons. Will we see James Gunn on stage at a convention? Considering that at previous shows in the last couple of years, when we've had directors in social media hot water, they have been removed from the equation. And we have seen, say, producers come up to introduce stuff. We've seen stars come out to produce stuff, but not necessarily the people that have stirred the water. I also think that last year with James Gunn, remember, this is 8 months. And when did this happen? This happened San Diego Comic-Con, Saturday morning. If you remember last year, James Gunn was in San Diego. He was probably in the car going to Hall H when Mike Chenovich dropped the nonsense of 10-year-old tweets and detonated, or attempted to detonate, his career. It happened that fast. They're quick, they're wily, they're devious, and we should watch our backs. Simple as that. Okay, that's been our show. We've actually filled an hour, my word. Thank you very much indeed to Andy for joining us. Don't forget, you can find him at Andy Babact on various social medias. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram as well, and all the other podcasts that he does. Marvel Report. He's a very busy boy. Do check out his show. I know that Dan and Sam were trying to get onto the Hangout, but unfortunately, they have been stymied by technical issues and also the Wi-Fi at the convention center at Anaheim. So never mind. We tried, but hopefully we'll have a report on Emerald City next weekend. As it happens, we are going to be having a live report from WonderCon. So that's on the way. Looking forward to finding what actually happens. Now that we've been talking about the actual show, let's find out more about WonderCon, because, like I say, it's going to be tied up with a bunch of other events that are taking place, because it does take place at the same weekend as Planet Comic-Con. So it's going to be a busy weekend. But like I say, next weekend we're talking about Emerald City. We're also going to be bringing that live report from Birmingham MCM as well. And then weekend after, we are going to be talking WonderCon with a live report from, we've got Dan, who's going to be joining us, and Aaron Neighbours as well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. Once again, if you do like what you have been watching, and if you'd like to support the show, please do donate to Patreon. We have been posting the panels that I hosted at ICE International Comics Expo, and we've also got some other exclusive stuff that's happening and putting up on that page over the course of the next week. So please do donate as much as you can. Go to patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. We are going to be posting more of our Emerald City audio interviews, which we put up about 7 so far. There's another 7 to come. We've been recording loads. So they're all going up on the Convention Collective. Do check it out at Sandbox. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy some of those interviews. Do check out the Adrian and Damien Wassel interview from Vault. That's very, very good. The Michael Moresi interview, the writer of This Wasted Space. That's very good. I think we're putting up some good stuff, and hopefully you enjoy it. We are going to continue bringing you as much as we can of convention coverage as we go through the summer. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. If you are celebrating St. Paddy's Day, have yourself a fine and glorious cold pint on me, and hopefully we'll see you next week for another Talkin Con, cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. Take care, and we'll see you soon.